Sylvia. Todman, touchdown. Third score of the game. 1st and 10 at the 18. There goes Todman again. Still going. Touchdown. Breaking tackle after tackle again. 4th touchdown on the night. Big blitz. Dumps it off. Intercepted. It's picked off by the Indians, and it's Todman. Touchdown.
So that's 5 touchdowns for Jordan Todman. What a show he's put on here tonight in front of the Dartmouth folks here in Dartmouth. 34-6 over Somerset.
All right, digging deep into the Library of Congress over here as we dug out some great stuff on our guests tonight. Welcome to Santos on Sports, Paul and Chris, and our special guest here tonight, former NFL star and, of course, Dartmouth Hall of Famer Jordan Todman. Jordan, thanks for joining us today.
Man, thank you guys for having me. It's a blast.
Bring back a few memories there?
Definitely did, and I love those highlights, man. So that one Somerset one in the corner kind of still surprises me, to this day, to make 3 or 4 people miss in such a small corner. But I love it, man, to bring back all the good memories, reminisce.
Well, I think you may be surprised, but I think a lot of us who got to see your great career in high school and onward from there to college and the NFL weren't too surprised. But, before we get into your career and we get into all of the great experiences that you have had, up here in New England, we are just being suffocated by this whole Brady Belichick bowl thing. And I know you're down there in Florida. You live down there, and I know Tampa Bay, of course, is down there. Yeah. So you're hearing a lot about it down there. But what does someone like you who actually played in the trenches of the NFL, what do you feel about this unbelievable hype leading up to this game?
For me personally, when I see those two going at it, 2 GOATs, I bring it back to, Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san, right? Bill Belichick being Mr. Miyagi, teaching Tom Brady all the tools and the technique, whether it's wax on, wax off, but teaching him the football. And now Tom Brady being the GOAT that he is, he wants to compete. They want to win. They want to see who's the better one of the two. It'll be a friendly, competition between each other, and we'll see how it all pans out. But for the growing up in New England, now living here in Florida, I will tell you, the Tampa Bay fans are loving and embracing everything that Tom Brady's, doing for them and done for them. And being in Massachusetts, we're used to winning. It come from winning, history, whether it's the Celtics or the Red Sox, the Bruins, or the Patriots. Tampa, they weren't that good. They weren't used to, bringing home Super Bowls. Now that they got one, and they're rocking with Tom Brady, they're up, their spirits up, their energy's up, and they're feeling untouchable.
Jordan, you ever have any kind of situation like that where you were on a team, got kind of close to a couple of coaches, now you leave that team, go somewhere else, and now you have to play against them? How do you feel if you're like that Tom Brady feel with the Belichick? How did you feel when you had to go back and play against, those former coaches?
I think the running back for the Lions, or he left the Lions, the new running back for the new team right now, he said it the best. It's almost like, your ex-girlfriend, or you leave somewhere else, right? You're going against them, or you want to show out against your ex-employee. You want to show them maybe the grass wasn't greener on the other side. But that relationship that Tom Brady and Belichick have is different. That's like a 10-year, plus bond, right? And I've played with some coaches that I love, and we have a great relationship. But 10 years of winning and relying on each other is a totally different relationship. So for me, it was always competition. And if I didn't feel like I was appreciated from that other team, then it was definitely on me to, I wanted to show out and do the best that I can. Tom Brady, for them, it's almost like, was I winning because of you, Bill? Or was it because of me? Or was it a team effort? I guess we're going to find out soon.
Well, I got to tell you, the teams are in different situations. Tampa Bay coming off the Super Bowl, really loaded with a lot of talent. Patriots kind of rebuilding a little bit, although they did have an influx of some veteran free agents in there. But I got to tell you, I hadn't been to a game in a while. Dylan and I went up there to the game against the Saints. It was a beautiful day, good father-son time, it's adult fun and all that, right? Nice sunny 70-degree day and everything else. And the Patriots, they just looked god-awful. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't stop anybody. The offensive line was just dominated. The defensive line was dominated. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, we're only 1 week away from the Brady game. What is going on with the Patriots, do you think?
I agree with you, and I don't want to hurt any feelings to all my Massachusetts and my Patriot fan lovers, but you hit it on the head. Tampa Bay is filled with talent in wide receivers positions, and defense is stacked and holding it down. Great linebackers, and with another coach and GOAT like Tom Brady, they put themselves, ahead of the race. And it's been a few years, in my opinion. I feel like Patriots did really well with their running backs that they picked up this year. I'm very much impressed with them and how they've been carrying the ball. But other than that, as the talent around there, Mac, I'm so excited for them. The quarterback, the rookie, I think he is, good upside in him. But like you said, you need to put it all together and have talents to be able to compete with a team like the Buccaneers. You got to have enough, playmakers on the field.
Jordan, in your 8 years, was there a time there where your team would actually look ahead to the following week, knowing you're playing a really good team or a Super Bowl caliber team, and not like kind of go through the motions on the team that you're playing that week, but you're so intrigued about getting to the next one that you kind of forget about that week that's coming up? I don't know if the Patriots kind of did that, but I know all the hype has been, hey, man, week 4, Tampa Bay, week 4, Tampa Bay. Could that happen a little bit with coaches and players with the Saints game looking ahead to Tampa?
That's a good question, but I feel like for the coaches, it might be totally different, right? I haven't been in their role, but as a player, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty hard or almost impossible to skip one NFL team, right, 1 week and jump to the other, because we have practice, we have study hall, study meeting, we got film, and your game plan can be totally different 1 week to the next week, whether they run a 3-4 defense or 4-3 defense, whether they got different blitzes, like so much things drastically change. So you can't necessarily go through the motions like that because you practice so much. And I have a saying, man, when women lie, men lie, but the film don't lie. Coaches at this level are tough. You know what I mean? We hold each other to accountable in a high standard. And when we turn on that film at practice, we'll see if you're going through the motions and so forth and so on. And then you'll see the results in that week. But in my opinion, I wasn't able to do that. I don't recommend it, and I don't think I had too many teammates who do it. Now, a coach like Bill, as it might be a totally different situation. He's the guy who's been coaching for years. He's played against numerous opponents, but has he ever played against his like I said, his younger mentor? Somebody that he literally gave the opportunity or a shot from Bledsoe, like literally helped mold and grow them in, and now he has a chance to lose to them. That's a totally different field on coach's side. But for the players, you got to take 1 week at a time.
And what I want to ask you, right, this whole Brady Belichick thing, I mean, Brady's proved his point. Belichick, I got to tell you, he's the greatest coach of all time and all that. But, the argument for him is getting weaker all the time because, last year he had COVID. Last year he had, people that didn't play because of COVID. This year they went out and spent all this money on the free agents and he can't seem to get the thing together. So what I want to ask you is, when I hear like one time they said, Brady, give us the name of a typical play. And he reeled off this sentence that went on forever. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how are the players supposed to know all that, right?
Yeah.
So when you're at the line and they're doing an audible, you got to know what the heck he's talking about, right? So my question is, when you take a bunch of free agents and you throw them into the Patriots system, you take Mac Jones, you throw him into the Patriots system, and a rookie, and some guy that sat out and all this, does it take a long time to learn a new system when you go from one team to another?
Everybody's different, and I will tell you the quarterback position is the hardest to know and to focus, right? There's tight ends, there's linebackers, there's linemen. You got to know where they're coming from, where they need to be. It's the toughest position to know. Being a veteran or players with audibles, they're usually whether they're hand signs or checks or they're off of looks, whether, too high, different reads, whether it's options. Those are the easier things to pick up. But the Patriots system, I can't tell you that, but I will tell you it's got to be hard, right? They did something that they've mastered it, and they've been able to go into half times and make adjustments, come out and win. And with a new quarterback, it's going to take a little time, especially for a rookie. And we can't expect him to just jump out and be Houdini, right? He's going to learn. He's going to take his bumps. He's going to make his plays as well. But time will tell.
Yeah, Jordan, 7, like we said before, for you specifically, when you're out there and you were playing and in your prime and doing what you needed to do, and you have your running back coaches, you got your offensive coordinators, you got your head coach. In your mind, how do all three of them combine together to focus on Jordan Todman? Or is it just one specific and say, hey, he's a running back, I'm going to let the running back coach take care of him, and we'll go from there on that. But, the coaches that you've had, how did that fit in with you when you were playing on these teams?
Good question. I think you missed one other guy. We're going to add the GM into there, right?
Okay,
So
all right.
let's add the GM into there. But with that being said, so you got your running back coaches, and that's the guy you spend your most time with. You're in the meeting rooms with him, and he knows you well. He knows your strengths. He knows your weaknesses, and you're doing the game plan with him. But in my experience, and I'm speaking, and I'm not saying I know all the answers, but in my experience, I know that that running back coach has only so much say and only so much power, right? You know how the commands go down as, boss to CEO or GM to owner to, head coach. There's, we all got steps and levels that we can say something and we can't say something. And I'm going to stretch your question a little further. So with that, I feel like the relationship is different. So now you'll have your general manager, depending on where he picked you or drafted you as that running back, or did they, pick somebody in that running back room? Where is he drafted? How much are we paying him, right? Is he playing? Is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Those are questions that get asked, right? And it's inevitable, right? If you would draft a first round, second round pick, that is an investment like any other business. You spent money on them. So the fans, the coaches, the GMs, the owner, they're expecting results and plays from that person. And that person can't show you results or plays if they're on the sideline. So you got to give that person that opportunity. And I'll build on it later on, but I'll let you ask the questions.
Well, how about this? I think this might be the perfect time to take another look back down memory lane. Take a look at this one.
Houston here early December. This is Todman returning it with an opening past Crosby, and Jordan Todman races down the sideline and takes it the distance, 99 yards, and a kick return touchdown to open the game. Some of our audience is just joining us. We've had an opening kickoff return for a touchdown by Jordan Todman, covering 99 yards.
Here it comes. Look at the block by Ferguson against Clinton Dix. That was the last block that let him go all the way. And what was really good about that, Jim, he moved into the catch. He caught it with a little running start.
All right. So I can see the smile on Jordan's face. You never get tired of looking at that one, right?
It's crazy. You still get chills and like the goosebumps a little bit. And you always have the same things that run through your mind. And as you can see towards the end, I thought about doing the Lambeau Leap just for history and for the reasons. But I'm like, I'm away. And not sure how the fans would agree to me, so I decided to stay on my feet.
Yeah, I like the Dion high step at the end. That's what I like.
Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I just happened to be watching the red zone that day, and they're bouncing all around, and all of a sudden they go, "Okay, let's go to the kickoff of this game," and then it's like, here comes Todman. I'm like, what? So I get a kick out of the fact that I got to see. Probably most people around here didn't get to see it live because that game probably wasn't on around here that day. But I got a kick out of that, seeing that live. So I always enjoy watching that. What about that? It's got to be at least one of the highlights of your career, I imagine.
Definitely one of my highlights of the career. And I think the timing that it happened, the legendary field that it happened on, the history of, Green Bay Packers, the Cheesehead and that Lambeau Field, and for it to be the opening kickoff, first play of the game, everybody in the stadium has emotions. They're high, whether they're low, your offensive kickup team, your team just gave you a big peak. You both had huge pickup speeches and things to get you fired up and ready to go. And when you go out there in the first play for us to do that, I thought it was huge to almost knock the air out of the Packers and literally boost all our confidence, our morale, and we were able to feed off it from that first play and literally we beat them. And it's a huge feeling. It felt great.
The player they showed there was number 12, Andrew Luck, and I'm sure not having him in the league is really difficult. Probably a guy that you would sit back and say, hey, he's going to have a great career. And they showed him to almost say, well, we don't need you on this one. You can sit back down for a while because Jordan just ran one off for us.
Even think Andrew Luck, a great quarterback that he was, he probably like anticipated, all right, I'm ready for the first 3 to 5 plays that coach has on the script, and literally put the script down. Like, I guess we don't need that now, right? So it was a good feeling for him, and he's a great player, and the game does miss him.
Well, I also remember you having a very good run with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You were on, I think you said 7 teams altogether, 4 you spent your most time with, and you started out with the Jaguars. But I remember you in the Pittsburgh Steeler backfield, as one of the main running backs. And I thought, oh, wow, this is going to be great because he's doing a great job there. I thought you did a really great job in that backfield. And, of course, the NFL being what it is, you said before, there's different people bouncing around. There's GMs. There's competition for your positions. There's always guys right behind you waiting to have an opportunity to get in there and take your spot. It always felt to us up here. I know we're biased because we're rooting for you up here in the Dartmouth and Massachusetts area. We always thought that, you were shortchanged a little bit, that maybe some of the people in power didn't see what we saw, and that, you should have been given even more opportunities. But the NFL being what it is, kind of a cutthroat business, you didn't get them. How do you feel about all that? Do you think that, wow, if I had just gotten a little break here or a little chance there, that maybe it could have been even better?
I agree with you guys strongly. And it was tough for me. Very, very tough. To talk about it and how you get put in that situation, it's an unbearable feeling. So I felt like, yes, I was shortchanged. I didn't get all the opportunities that I wanted or chances, but when I did get those chances, those opportunities, I took advantage of them to the fullest, was able to make plays, positive plays, score touchdowns, big plays, and I felt like I didn't get that love. So what piggybacks on it, I feel like it was tough being a true junior, right? I was 20 years old, and when I entered the NFL draft, I only went to UConn for 2 years and 1 football season. So now I entered the draft as a 6th-round draft pick, being hungry, being eager. I'm excited. I get the Chargers, I get an injury, and you get the hopping around. But with that, I noticed a lot about the business and how it goes. So back to the GMs and the owners, like I said, I have an analogy. I like to break it down is say I'm a GM or the owner, right? You're a coach. And like I said, this is just my personal opinion, so hearing it out. So some of us, might like a blonde. Some of us might be attracted to a brunette. But when that owner or that GM drafts that brunette, if you're a coach, you love that brunette too. You have to see that brunette grow and bloom, which is that 1st-round pick or that 2nd-round pick, right? And when that 1st round or that 2nd-round pick doesn't bloom, none of us want to point this finger, right? It's easy to point that finger. So we're like, well, he's a young guy. He's a rookie. We're just going to give him a year to learn the system. Or, oh, he had an injury. Oh, he's bouncing back. Oh, we keep doing that, right? We do that for that player. And if that player is not playing, then the fans are like, whoa, we drafted him in 1st or 2nd-round pick. We gave him $15 million guaranteed. He's not on the field. Why is that, right? And it's a business, man. We need to be able to market your players, and your players got to do well. I feel like there's some select teams that truly let the best players play, and then there's some teams that's not the case. And I think a perfect, for instance, and I'm just speaking candidly. So I say, for instance, let's talk about Tim Tebow, for instance, right? He's a good tight end, but no, how many great tight ends are there out there in this world who didn't get that opportunity that Tim Tebow got, right? Tim Tebow came straight from baseball, didn't play any football for a long time, but got that opportunity for the Jaguars to potentially make a team for the Jaguars, and go. And do you think it's because they thought he was a better tight end? Or did you think it was he had an opportunity for more ticket sales, more jersey sales? He's from this area of Jacksonville. He has a statue made after him. He's still a great, great college player. He's done amazing things, but he will get opportunities that other guys won't. For another example, and I'm just speaking candid, there's players who failed multiple drug tests, 6, 7, 9, 8 drug tests. For whatever reason, just can't put it down, right? They will get that opportunity that same kid doesn't get. And it's different for everybody, but what I've learned is control what you can control. I can't stress or be down on what the next man thinks of me. I just knew that when I got a chance and I got to step on the field, I was going to leave it all on the field. They were going to know who I was, And if they didn't like me, another team would like me. And that's what allowed me to play for that many teams is when you put out good tape and you put out good film, that's your resume. That showed you who I am. And other teams were able to see that and say, I see a value in this guy, and let me give him an opportunity. And the role became, we get put into a box, I like to say, or they say you can really do this, or you're really good at that. I came in as a running back, and being an athlete to play on the field, I mastered the special teams game. I made it to where I can be one of the best gunners. I could be one block on the line. I could be the best kick returner. I did that just to better my value myself, right, and do whatever it took to help the game. But then that became my role as a utility guy. Is he a running back guy? Now he's a journeyman who kind of hops to team, and a 6th-round pick from UConn, and that's that stamp that you get, right? And that's who you are, and you just gotta rock with it and take the punches.
Paul, we've talked about this before. It reminds me of another great Massachusetts player in the name of Doug Flutie. It reminds me a lot of it. I thought Doug had a lot of great chances, never got that really chance to get it. The one that comes to mind is when he went to Buffalo. They had picked Rob Johnson. Rob Johnson got hurt in game 1. Doug came in, played tremendous, got him to the playoffs. But the GM turned to Wade Phillips and said, I want Rob Johnson. We paid all this money for Rob. I want him starting. And Wade says to this day, I should have started Doug Flutie. I didn't, and I started Rob Johnson. They lost that game. It was something that Wade will go down and always say, I should have started Doug. But it's kind of similar to what Jordan was talking about. And Jordan, knowing that, did you have any thoughts about maybe like Doug, hey, maybe I can go up to the CFL or do something else where they can see my potential? Because right now the NFL, is trying to get you as not a running back, more of a utility, something to that. So that kind of reminds me of that story. The same thing with Doug and the same thing with you.
And you hit it on the head with that Doug story, because it happens just like that. And just like that. And you got to go with what he says. He thinks he's putting his best foot forward. You may not agree, but you got to agree to disagree. For myself, I didn't think about playing in Canada or in any of those leagues. I took care of myself the 8 years in the NFL, and where I love the game of football. I love to compete, and now I only got basketball, right, to do that. Maybe some flag football coming up, but I can't really go out there and put on a helmet and play football ever again. Play 20 years straight, but I'll never be able to do that again. I miss it. I love it, but I guess if it wasn't the NFL, I'm one of them dogs where I want to compete with the best of the best, and if I'm not competing with the best, or I'm not at my best, I'm gonna have to take my talents and my skills somewhere else.
All right, a couple of quick comments here. Chris DuPont, on hearing the comment that I made a little bit ago, says exactly, they didn't give him a chance. And Manny Ramos says you made the area proud and did your thing. So good for you, Jordan Todman. Hey, I can just remember too, I'd watch a game after, you weren't playing as much anymore, and I'd see somebody go, that guy, Todman's better than this guy. They're like, who's this guy? Todman's better than that guy. Like, what the heck is going on? But anyway, I want to get a couple of quick questions as we only got about 5 minutes left. Playing with celebrities, right? You played with Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, we could go on a big list of all these players you played with. When you walk into that locker room and you see somebody like that, or you're like a Tom Brady comes in with some of these young kids, right? Do you have to, like, I don't know, do you get a few butterflies and then you got to put that aside? Like, how do you deal with that?
You get used to it. There's there's steps to it. For myself, I signed with athletes first. So I was with one of the biggest agencies in the NFL right now. So we had, Von Miller, Shane Vereen came out with us. We have Nate Scolders. We had Jake Locker. We have Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews. The list goes on of the players that they have, so 1 year around those guys. 2, you have Super Bowl parties or Super Bowl events, autograph different signings. So you start to bump elbows with them, so you get a little bit used to it. But for me, it was unreal that when you walk into the locker room, that now you're with guys that you played Madden with, right? It's like I used your character before, but now you're my teammate. It's a little different, right? And that whole sense of the world. But once again, you get used to it. You guys no longer your teammates, your brothers, you're bonding, and you're out there competing with each other. So it happens, but you get little steps into it, in my opinion. Like, you get used to it over time.
Jordan, now that it's all done for you, what do you look back on and say, if I could change anything, what would I change? And if not, at the same time, what are you doing now that you would like everyone around here to know I'm okay and this is what I'm doing?
That's a good question. So I would love to talk to all my people back home in Massachusetts about so many things, life journeys and things to help them. But me particularly, what I love my journey, my everything that I did, the decisions that I make. I say there's always one that you question, you say, okay, you left your true junior year and got drafted at 20 years old and you did great things at UConn. What if you came back that second year? Your fourth year. Now you're senior. And now, 4 years under your belt, 4 years of film, more notoriety. And could you have been a different draft pick? Would that have changed? Would that, I don't know. And those are questions that we'll ponder. And another question is, when you get into the NFL and you're a young guy, understanding and knowing the circumstances of what you have or the opportunity that's in your hands. And then it's like, be patient, right? They invested in you. They might have drafted you. Like, they see something in you. Be patient and follow it out. And, God has a plan for us, and put your best foot forward every day, and the sky's the limit. What I'm doing now is I'm taking on what God gave me, my talents, my skills, my ability, and I'm giving back. I've been blessed to have, 2 to 3 jobs my whole life, and that's doing what I love to do. And being able to coach, mentor, give back to the kids, it's fulfilling to me, like a calling, and it's what I do. God put me here to serve, help, and help people motivate and chase their dreams, and so they can be, the best person that they can be. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me.
All right, one last question, because I know you have a commitment, right? We have this big game coming up down here in Foxborough in just a few days now, and they've been talking about it. Do the Patriots have any chance in hell of winning this game? And secondly, what kind of game plan you think they should put in there to slow Brady down and give them a chance for this big upset?
That's a good question. Do they have a chance? I'm gonna say they have a chance. Am I leaning towards Brady and the Bucs? I am. I will be honest to say that. But I guess Bill Belichick has to dig in his bag. He has to find Tom Brady's kryptonite and find ways that he can hurt him. Whether it's rushing the quarterback, whether it's giving him different looks. He has to know what he likes, what he doesn't like, and obviously he's gonna have his hands full trying to beat the defending champs. So we'll all tune in and see what happens on Sunday.
I know you're saying leaning like all the way down. I gotta tell you, I know you played and everything, and you're trying to be nice to us back here in Massachusetts. Yeah. I just don't see it. I'm trying to visualize Tom Brady coming in and getting beaten by this team that just looked deplorable last week. And I'm like, I just don't see it. I think the Patriots are going to have everything they can do to not get blown out of the stadium. I hope I'm wrong, because hey, there was a such thing as the miracle Mets. There was a miracle on ice. Every once in a while something crazy happens, but I don't see it.
I hope they. I don't think they'll get. Hopefully, they don't get blown out. Hopefully, keep it close. But time will tell. We're gonna put it together.
Listen, you two guys don't have faith after 20 years of watching New England Patriot football in New England. Hey, listen, they can beat anybody at any given time. That's the NFL. That's what's fun about it, because you don't know what team can do what. They have a shot. They have a shot. They can find a way. The ruffle the feathers. Maybe make it close at the end, kick a field goal and win it. Yeah, okay, they're an underdog. They're like 6 or 7 points at home. Yeah, I get it. Gronk's coming with them too. And maybe there's like too much. Paul, sorry about that, Paul. I didn't mean to throw Gronk in there, but I got to throw him in there too. Listen, there's a lot of things out there. Patriots got a shot. They're okay. They'll be all right.
Let's see how the fans treat Tom and Gronk. That's a good. I want to know. Are they screaming on third down, or are they chanting Tom Brady? I don't know.
I'm hearing they're supposed to have some special events or special activities about Tom, either before, during, or after the game. So there's a lot of things. They haven't brought it out yet, but supposedly it's supposed to be coming. So it'll be nice to see on a Sunday night, after a good day of football, to really sit down and watch that one.
Hey, here's what I think, but what do I know? I think by the end of the game, if the Patriots are getting beat by a couple of touchdowns, they're going to hear Brady, Brady for the whole fourth quarter. That's
yes. If it gets ugly quick, I agree. They're going to slide Brady, Gronk, and that's a bad environment. That's not what you want.
And as far as the Patriots having a chance to win the game, every once in a while a Hail Mary is caught. You know what I mean? That's about as much chance as I give them.
There is a chance. There's a possibility. Anything's possible. We'll leave it at that. Anything's possible. But they definitely got a tough battle ahead of them. Good luck. We'll say that.
Hey, Jordan, we really appreciate you talking with us today. The people up here in Massachusetts, of course, are big fans of yours, continue to be big fans of yours. We understand you're engaged. We wish you all the best in your future down there and all the great work that you're doing down there. And I know you may be starting a podcast, so good for you. We'll be supporting that. But we'd love to have you come back again, maybe mid-season, and see how things are going.
I appreciate it, man, guys. Thank you for having me. Good luck. And, please keep in touch. And I'll get back to you when I have my podcast. I'll have you as a guest. How does that sound?
Hey, that sounds awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, y'all take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. Hey, that was a lot of fun talking to Jordan, I'll tell you. And he, the thing that was great about that is that, he was giving it to us. I expected nothing less, but, a lot of people, they want to be careful what they say and this and that. I mean, he was telling you pretty much what happens in a lot of these teams whereby, I told you I'd be watching him, and I think you remember it too. I'd be watching him in the backfield of Pittsburgh or on a special teams, like he ran the ball back or he'd make some good coverage. I'm like, oh, this guy's really doing great. And then the next thing you know, they put some draft pick in front of him that got picked ahead of him that was making more money than him, but is not as good as him. And then he just couldn't get back in there. I think there's a lot of truth
you got to feel for him a little bit in ways of not getting that great opportunity, when even though he would leave one team and go to another and his name was called to step up, he stepped up. It's not like he didn't step up. So you're thinking, hey, I've made the jump to another team. They've asked me to do this. I step up, score 97-yard and then fall back, and then they don't give him a chance anymore. Then he goes to another team. They call on him. He steps up again. And obviously after that, he had gotten some injuries with the shoulder, even the thumb, some different things. And then it winded down after that. And then he gets a tough break. He started coaching at Jacksonville U, and then their program let go in 2019. So he had to stop on that too. So you got to feel for him in those situations. You could talk about just being 5'9" and only 190 or 200 pounds. You could talk about all that kind of stuff too. But at the same time, I think he's right with the GM to coach, to offensive coordinator, to running back coach. There's such a system there and a fine line. And it's all about the mighty dollar, who's bringing seats into the audience, jersey sales, ticket sales, all that kind of things that we really don't know about, Paul. And here's a guy who kind of threw a little bit at us to sit back in your mind and say, you know what? I kind of knew that, but we really don't know all the ins and outs. But for him, unfortunately, he lived the dream that he wanted to live. He doesn't really, again, he was drafted 6th round and he had 1 year of eligibility left at UConn. So he's saying, maybe I could have stayed there if I would have set more records. Maybe my draft, instead of being a 6th round pick, might have been like a 1st, a 2nd, or a 3rd. Now I get a little bit more increase in salary. Now I get a little more high up from the GM saying, we drafted this guy early. Let's give him a shot, that kind of a thing. So I understand where he was coming from that too. It's great. It was great having him on and talking to him and really finding out about the NFL.
Well, we got a comment here from Missy Rocha Farias. Thank you for looking in today. She says, great show. And then she said, true, anything is possible. And then when I hear those words, I always, of course, think of Kevin Garnett. Anything is possible. The only problem with that is that the Celtics had one of the best teams in the league that year, and the Patriots are still trying to rebuild. And then Bobby O'Brien says, Brady, Brady, Brady. It sounds like Attorney Santos in the juvenile courtroom with the people in the audience saying, Santos, Santos. Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know if
he's always got one of these comments that make me feel good. That's okay. That's all right.
Bobby.
But yeah, it's when you hear about, him going all those different teams, that's why I wanted to ask him because, I thought the Patriots were just, oh my God, they were awful. Offsides, people in the wrong position, people not following what was going on. And I think that there may be some truth. And I'm not trying to excuse Belichick at all, but there might be something true to the idea that, okay, now you've taken a rookie quarterback, which he said is the most complicated. We knew it was the biggest job, but he's talking about complicated, learning everything and studying everything and learning the system and all that. Then you throw in a bunch of free agents who are basically leftovers from other teams and then throw them into the Patriots with guys like McCourty and Andrews and some of these other guys that have been there. And maybe that's why the thing is just not gelling right now. I hope it does 3 or 4 games from now because the Patriots might be digging a hole they can't get out of. But I can tell you right now, being at that Saints game, I was like in shock. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
Well, it's a tough schedule, and it's only been 3 games, Paul. I mean, you got to kind of, it's not like Brady when Brady took Bledsoe's place went, 20-0. So, I mean, you're going to have that, and you got young guys, you got free agents, you got everything all over the place mixing around, trying to get into a new system and figure it out. Yeah, you would like it to be 2-1 or 3-0. Everybody would. They're wanting to. I get it. Tough schedule. Beat the Jets. Yep. All right. Lost their first one. Saints team, a lot of veterans, good leadership team with Coach Payton there. And obviously now you got the defending Super Bowl champion. So, yeah, and no offense, it's the New England Patriots. Everybody wants to beat the New England Patriots. So you got a bullseye on your back. It's a lot of things going on out there with that team. And for them, they're trying to make the best of it. So hopefully they will rebound, whether it's this week or the weeks after that, and get back into it. I still think they're okay. Bill usually makes them better as the year goes on and develops and tries to get the best out of them. And I still think he'll do it with this team too. So have faith in them, Paul. Have faith in them.
Well, Brandon Bouchard is watching today. Thank you very much for chiming in here, Brandon. We appreciate it. He says that everybody thinks Tampa is going to destroy New England.
Yep.
This is when you bet New England. That's what he says. But the thing is, this isn't the same New England. There's a lot of new players in there, and I don't think they quite have the same magic. But, hey, I don't know. I hope you're right. That's all I can say.
Yeah, usually when that happens and everybody likes one team and they just say, hey, this team can't lose. That's when the other team says, hey, we're home. Everyone's against us. It's great bulletin board material. Tom's coming to town and everyone's talking Tom and Gronk and all that. And they forgot about us And for some reason, teams find a way to step up and turn the other page and end up, winning the game or keeping it close. So I'm sure that's what Brandon's thinking in that point. But again, anything's possible. They're home. So, maybe they'll learn from the Saints game, make some adjustments. But again, the biggest adjustment, as Jordan said, the adjustment of how to slow down Tom, Gronk, that great receiving crew of Evans, Godwin, and Antonio Brown, whoever's playing in that role there. So they got to find a way to slow that offense down. And then obviously when you do, how do you score on your own? Just losing James White, obviously that doesn't help them. But again, as Bill would say, next man up. So let's see who the next man up is on that.
Well, you're talking about, slowing down Brady and Gronk and all that. That's obviously mountain number one.
Yep.
You also talked about, what the Patriots might do offensively. And by the way, folks that are watching, if you have a chance to listen to Chris on New Bedford Cable Network with Joe Cabral, outstanding job doing the color on the basketball mostly and football. I know you guys do all the other sports as well, but in focusing on football, Chris has a lot of opinions there, right? Which you should, because you're the color guy. You're supposed to have opinions. So let's say you're the coach of the New England Patriots. Okay, we're really going to put you on the spot. And let's say you're the offensive coordinator, as a matter of fact. Let's focus in on you're Josh McDaniels, right?
Okay.
I actually heard on the radio today somebody saying, even though Mac Jones hasn't thrown the ball much, they forced him to throw 50 times against the Saints, but that's only because they were behind, right?
Yeah.
But the weakness, if there is one with Tampa, is in the secondary. You can't run the ball on him, right? So you're really going to drop back Mac Jones in the shotgun, go 5 wide, and just bombs away? That's what somebody suggested. What would you do if you were the offensive coordinator?
Well, the first thing I got to do is I got to talk to my offensive line and make sure I protect this young man.
Right.
I mean, he's getting pressured from a lot of places. Number two, this is a very good run defense. So, yeah, I like to make a little bit short passes, get it out to the outside, and then work my way in the middle if I can, and then take advantage of the deep secondary, not just 5 wide and go deep, deep, deep. Now, they just picked up Richard Sherman. He is signed with Tampa. He's even supposed to play and be in the lineup.
Oh, no, I heard that they were trying to get him. They got him?
Oh, no, they got him. Oh, no, they
come
got
on,
him. So
man.
he's in there. So,
it was like an all-star team.
Well, they're starting to do that. So if you're Josh McDaniels, you got to dink and dunk a little bit, but you got to find a way to get it downfield as well, and then mix in the running game. And then I would study film, Paul, on what the Rams did. Now, remember, the Rams just beat Tampa. I want to take a look at Matt Stafford. I want to take a look at Cooper Kupp. I want to take a look at those guys on the outside, see what they really did offensively to kind of take away Tampa and score 34 points on them. So I would be doing a lot of film of what the Rams did, see if I can do some of that as well. But I got to protect the young man. If I can't protect the young man, we're in trouble. And then obviously my offensive line has to open some holes too. But this is a very, very good run defensive team.
Well, Ryan Farias makes the comment, and he's speaking exactly to what you're talking about. He says we need Trent Brown back in the worst way possible up there on the offensive line. That was a big hole to fill. And the guy that stepped up, you talked about the next man up, he was not good.
Yep. Well, you take your chances when it comes to those things, and hopefully that person will get better. If not, he's out and someone else is in, and to get it the way that you want it to be. But listen, the quarterback is the main man. He's the person that goes through it all. You heard Jordan just say it. He's got the toughest on. If you can't protect the guy, then you're going to struggle. And for you, Mike Reedy, my Cowboys right now are 2-1. I'm keeping that hat on. The hat is staying. I'm going with my team. Got another one playing 3-0 Carolina this week. We played the Eagles. Always love to beat the Eagles. My biggest rival. Great win. But Josh McDaniels got to find a better game plan than what he came up with against the Saints. And I think, they're going to need that to come close to beating Tampa.
Somebody said, how about if Smith would actually catch the ball? That might help. And they haven't used Henry either. Like, how come they can't use the tight ends? I don't understand what's happening there.
Well, that's why you went go get those two. Those are the ones that you really want to get the ball to, and find their big bodies over the middle or just to the out in the flats and keep them busy. So it is kind of surprising. Got to use them a little bit more too, get them involved. But with this team, I think you got to exploit the secondary. Try to get the ball downfield a little bit more than normal because that's when they've been weak. But you got to block for them to get that done.
Right. Being at the Saints game the other day, I always try to look at stuff that you wouldn't see on TV. Because if I'm going to look, I see people looking at the Jumbotron when, I'm thinking, what are you looking at the Jumbotron for? You just look at the thing with your own eyes. You can go home and watch the game. You can record the game and watch it play back. So I always try to look at the sidelines and look at different stuff. I remember when the Patriots came out for the second half, they had the ball to start the second half. And it was a 1-possession game at the time. No, it's 2-possession game, right? So I'm thinking if they can come down the field and score right here. And Mac Jones came out and they looked like they were ready to go. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That was a terrible first half. We maybe some adjustments. We're going to go out there. Mac Jones went marching out there. And the first play from scrimmage, he threw a nice ball. He threw a nice ball to Smith. And next thing I know, Smith is like tapping the ball up in the air like he's playing volleyball or something. Right? And then the guy took the ball and ran it back, and you could just hear the whole crowd just go like, oh, and you could just see okay, we thought we might be able to make a run here, and just like, oh, and for like at least probably until it got back to be a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter, the fans started picking up again. It was like you could hear a pin drop in the stadium like for the next 5 or 6 minutes. It was just like so depressing. And what a kind of a fluky, play where Jones really threw a good ball. And I don't know, Smith just was having butterfingers or stone fingers or something. What an inopportune time for that to happen.
Well, it sure is. I mean, but you got to execute in all 4 phases of the game. And if you can't do that, then obviously you're not expected to win, whether it's a fumble, an interception, as you said. There are great interceptions and there are bad interceptions. To me, that's a bad one. When you throw the ball right into someone's hands, you got to catch it, and then you juggle it and you bobble it, and then the guy goes, and that's a bad interception. You can't blame Mac. You can blame the receiver if you like, because he bobbled the ball. And there's some other times when the guy in the defensive back makes a great play or a great read, There's all kinds of things, but you got to play, execution. And whether you're blocking right, whether you're running right, you're not getting penalties called on you. You win the turnover battle. All those things have to go in your favor. When you're winning, they usually are. When you're losing, they're usually not. So right now, they have to find a way to turn that around. And I'm expecting them to do it. I expect them to turn it around. May not be this week, even though I think they're going to compete very well against Tampa.
Well, in our closing moments here, maybe we could maybe not get into predictions, but, just give us an idea how we think it might go. Watching that Saints game, I was thinking, oh, my God, there's so much to fix. On the other hand, sometimes when a team comes out and they play terrible, but there's still only one score down, and you say they haven't even begun to play yet, right? So, God, if you just a couple of those fluky turnovers, kicking the ball out of bounds, guys going offside, dumb penalties, just fix those things. Forget about, the complicated game plan. Just fix that sort of easy stuff, and you're probably in the game, right? So I actually agree with you, and I think the Patriots are going to hang around for a while, and people are going to be, wow, they're hanging around. And then toward the end, Tampa's going to pull away and win the game. And that's how I think it's going to go. I do think the Patriots might be able to hang around for a while.
Yeah, that's my sentiment. I think McDaniels and Belichick know we can't let this game get too out of hand too early. If they can find a way to stick into it, getting into the fourth quarter, then they'll see what happens. So that's going to be kind of the MO that I think they're going to try to work with and say, just get us to the fourth quarter, get it tight, and then we'll see what happens at the end, a play here and a play there. But of course, knowing the way it works for Tom Brady, being back in New England, I'm sure he'll have the ball in his hands at the end of the game, and he'll find a way to do what he normally does, whether it's get a touchdown and win it, or they set up to kick a field goal and win it. That's a possibility that might happen as well.
All right, real quick, Mike Reedy wants a prediction about tonight's game. Do you see that?
All right, so tonight we have Cincinnati and we have Jacksonville. I think Joe Burrow is a better player right now.
Me too.
Than Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor's still learning the game. I like the Bengals, and I like the Bengals big. That's just my opinion. I think they're playing pretty good. They went into Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh. If you can do that, you can come home and you can beat Jacksonville. So I like Cincy, and I like them to win pretty big.
All right, sounds good. Well, when we meet again,
the
Brady Belichick Bowl have gone by. It would almost be like probably not going to see it again. I have to say I've enjoyed it. It's great theater. We haven't even had the game yet, but it will be kind of nice to get it behind us a little bit, I think, don't you?
Well, right now it's all about the hype looking forward toward the game. And you're so excited about it that you're just wishing that it's kind of a good game,
right?
Not a 42-7. You're hoping that it's just a good game. Now, if it turns different, you're like, well, we told you, just couldn't wait for this game to get over. If it's close, it's tight, it's a great game, it comes down on a wire, then your spirit's up and the season continues on, things like that. Last time we were on the air, we said a 3-game series against the Yankees, and look what happened there. Sox got swept, and it's the same kind of thing. The hype of New York now coming, but now they get swept, and all of a sudden everybody went, oh boy, we just lost 3 to the Yankees. We don't even deserve to make the playoffs. So it runs in cycles, Paul, and it just, you have your ups and downs. So they're trying to hang on and beat the Orioles and Nationals. Same thing's going to happen here with New England, depending on what this outcome of this game is, whether this season's going to be lost or this season's going to be, wait a minute, I think we have something and we can still make a plan for some down the road.
Right. We didn't really get a chance to talk about the Red Sox. But
yeah, that's another week.
There were four teams now with Seattle and Oakland hanging around and sneaking up behind the Red Sox.
Yeah, now Oakland just got eliminated yesterday.
Okay.
So they're out. So now
excuse me, Seattle, Toronto, New York.
Yeah, so it's Toronto and Seattle, no Oakland now. No Oakland.
Oh my God. I mean, the Red Sox could be on the outside looking in if they don't start winning more often than just this one game against the Orioles. Anyway, thanks a lot. That was a lot of fun. People that are watching live, if you're coming in now, go back and zip through this interview with
Yeah.
Jordan Todman. He was one of the more enjoyable interviews,
Very good.
that we've done, and we're very happy to have him. Very,
Yeah,
very
nice young man. I wish nothing but the best for him.
Oh yeah, smooth, a great expertise, great
Yep.
insight to, seeing it all from the inside, looking out, the way he thinks about it, the way he's looking at it, really, really insightful stuff from Jordan Todman. So we thank him for joining us. And Chris, always a pleasure. We'll see you next week for another Santos on Sports.
Thanks, Paul.
Have a great night, everybody.